Hey Ciara, it's Mark. Has some feedback for you on your IRB application. So I have some feedback. I actually have way more feedback on the research summary questions. I have just a few things here on the actual application. You've gone through this before, so there's some things that I think you kind of get. And one thing I noticed is that you're able to put, you're able to kind of describe risks pretty succinctly, and you also did a pretty decent job of explaining how you're going to address those risks. I would add that you mentioned a secure file. I think the phrase password protected would be helpful. I also think the informed consent may be the only thing that links the identity of the participants to your study. So I think maybe including some information about where you're going to keep the informed consent forms, I think that would be helpful. Okay, let me see if there's anything else in your IRB app. That's it. All right, so on to your research summary. All right. There are places where the writing was a little confusing, and I'm assuming that this is a draft. I did have a grammar thing, but I can shut up about that. I imagine this is just a draft. So there's a sentence here, I think just kind of cutting to the chase, and like the researchers are using phenomenology and participants will be selected upon enrollment. I think that would just be fine. If you want to go with the survey, we need to get that ready for IRB. So we need to have the survey, interview protocols, and informed consent forms. All those things need to be ready to go for IRB. But we can talk about survey. It sounds like we got a lot going on. We got survey, we got something that kind of looks like a focus group / observation, like when you go to the class and you talk with them. And then we have follow-up interviews, one-on-one interviews. And I kind of want to make this, I definitely want you to have enough data where you feel like you can write confidently. I also kind of don't want you pulling your hair out because you have too much data and you're not sure how to kind of make sense of it. So you have those three pieces there, and I'm curious like what you really need in order to really kind of sink your teeth in the phenomena, but then also to kind of manage manage the workload. So let's definitely talk about that tomorrow. But if we're going if we're going survey, we need to get the survey ready for IRB. And so I ask a question here, and I'll send this document to you too. It has my little notes over here on the side. Let's see, I've got little notes over here. But I asked a question about what is actually going to be happening here. Are we really doing those three things: survey, focus group, interviews? If we are, that's cool, I guess. How can we make that manageable? Maybe we only need to find one participating instructor. That would be awesome. If you really wanted to do something larger, that we could talk about that too. So we got options, but we need to chat about it and figure out what's best for you. I was curious what the writing sample is going to help you do, and why that's included there. So maybe we can talk about that as well. I didn't see it as being immediately relevant to your project. I didn't know if that was a remuneration thing where you'd give some feedback, but I kind of need to figure out what that's going to be doing. You have a lot of stuff going on here, and I know you want options, but I think it's probably going to be best if you can kind of specify, I'm going to do a focus group and a follow-up interview with a class, or I'm going to do a survey and a focus group afterwards with a class. That's totally I think that kind of streamlining is going to give a bit of clarity to your project. It's going to be a lot easier to kind of manage things. One thought I did have about the survey thing, if you wanted to do that, we could include a little line there, like if you're interested in participating further in this project as a as a potential interviewee, provide your email address here. That might be a nice way to recruit folks. I do think here referring to Cresswell could be helpful to kind of explain how you're going to be coding things. Take a look at his text and his discussion about coding. That kind of lends credibility to your method. And then finally, I'd say you need an end date for your data collection. So I'd say, first week of May at the very latest. That just gives you time to kind of do follow-up interviews. Like if in April, after you've visited the class and collected data, let's say in April you want to do a follow-up interview before your paper gets finished, specifying that end date will allow you to do that. And putting it further out is going to allow you to do that. So that's my feedback. Let's chat tomorrow, especially about the methods that you're using, and let's get this thing ready. I would say that this is probably the priority over the research proposal. So if you need to put the research proposal off to, sometime over break sending that in, I think I'd be okay with that. But we want to make sure that this gets out to IRB this week. Okay, that's it for now. We'll chat tomorrow.